today I'm here with a very special guest, Naveen Jain. Welcome. So I'd love to introduce you to a dear friend of mine. I like to be able to call him a dear friend since he's in New York now, getting ready to hang out with Deepak Chopra and be interviewed by Vogue, and has dinner with the president and stuff like that, and hangs out with Tony Robbins. So I feel very privileged that he can spare a few minutes to chat with me and my tribe. Naveen is actually the founder of Microbiome. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's a really, really cool testing company that looks at your microbiome. And that's what we're going to be talking all about today. He has won so many awards. He has founded other companies, Moon Express, Blue Dot, TalentWise, InfoSpace, and now Viome. He's won many awards, Ernst & Young Entrepreneur Year of the Year, Albert Einstein Technology Medal, Most Creative Persons by Fast Company. So we are in the presence of a great man right here, everyone.
Well, Amy, I think you're looking at the mirror here. That's a great person right there.
Yeah, well, you're sweet. We're both wearing blue, so that's nice. Well, let's jump straight into it because I know we don't have a ton of time. We only have 30 minutes. But I think for those who are not familiar, can we just jump straight into what is the microbiome and why do we care about it?
Yeah, so the microbiome, it means the micro means is small and the biome really means the life, right? So these are the small organisms that live on us and inside us. 98% of all these organisms live in our gut, and the gut is the large intestine inside us, and they together actually are this missing organ that we have actually never been able to identify what it does. And it turns out recently, obviously, Amy, you are absolute an expert here, that now every single research is pointing that almost every single chronic disease, whether it's in autoimmune diseases or whether it's obesity or diabetes, or you're looking at cognitive disorders, autism, Alzheimer's, depression, anxiety, start looking at fatty liver disease, and even the many types of cancer. Now they have shown the pancreatic cancer, the colorectal cancer, the ovarian cancer, the breast cancer, and all these things are being caused by actually what's happening inside our gut. So if any one of you does not believe those microorganisms are actually part of who we are as human beings, then you are in for a total surprise here.
Right. Well, so tell us how, what have you guys discovered about how it can impact our health? I mean, you've mentioned these various diseases, but how exactly is it impacting our health with these diseases?
So it's very, very interesting, Amy. Since the last year is completely, the science has evolved, and what we are starting to see is completely groundbreaking. And, I don't use the word very lightly. Now we are able to see the actual biochemical signature of the diseases inside your gut. And as you know, the difference between what we do and almost every other company that has ever come before us has always been is that people were always asking the wrong question, which is they were trying to find out what are the organisms that are inside the gut. And that would have never solved the problem, because what really matters to the human health is what are these organisms doing, not who they are, but what they are doing. Because body only cares what is being produced. It doesn't really care who is producing it, really. And that to me was really the key when we started to look at the RNA sequencing rather than really focused on DNA or 16S. And that fundamentally changed everything. And just to fast forward today where we are, Amy, we are able to now have a predictive, not associative, predictive signatures for the onset of obesity, diabetes, depression, and IBS. And we can literally tell you exactly on the onset of these diseases. And that means now we are doing 15 double-blind clinical trials to actually show that not only we can understand what's causing the disease, we can intervene and actually prevent, or better yet, reverse these chronic diseases. And we are actually right in the midst of the trials for things like depression, anxiety. We are doing a trial on autism and Parkinson's. We are doing a trial on obesity and fatty liver disease, the PTSD, and we're doing the 4 types of cancer right now. We're doing pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, colorectal cancer, and breast cancer. So I really hope that in the next 6 months or so, we'll be able to show the actual efficacy of balancing your gut, reducing the inflammation, is actually reversing these chronic diseases. And that's the day, imagine, Amy, when we are able to go in there, say we can cure these diseases without a synthetic drugs. We can simply use a food as a medicine. And I cannot wait for a day when we stop becoming victimized by the pharmaceutical companies who are using the chronic diseases to actually call us a lifetime subscriber. And especially
my mother passed away from pancreatic cancer 4 days to the month that she was diagnosed. So I'm, thrilled to hear that you guys are doing some research there. Is this research you're doing on your own, or are you doing this in conjunction with a medical institution?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, if you remember, there was a researcher at NYU that actually showed that how pancreatic cancer is caused by the gut microbiome moving from the gut, going to pancreas, shutting the immune system down, allowing the cancer to grow. And this researcher actually put the antimicrobial directly into pancreas and allowed kill the microbiome, and the immune system actually got rid of the cancer. And so now we are working with them to actually show how gut microbiome moves to the pancreatic cancer. Can we actually use the food as a medicine to reverse it? And Amy, I wanted to share with you, just like you shared, my dad passed away from pancreatic cancer Thanksgiving, just a few days before Thanksgiving. And it was the heartbreaking thing, because we knew it is happening from the gut. And I begged to the doctors to do something about putting an antimicrobial into the pancreas. And they said, that is not the protocol. We will not do that. And when he was dying, I told him, Dad, I can't save you, but I promise you I'm going to work hard as possible to make sure no one else suffers. And here we are together working on this thing. And I know you have dedicated your life to autoimmune diseases, but I can tell you that there's no doubt in my mind, we are actually seeing that how autoimmune diseases are caused by the imbalance of the gut microbiome, because our immune system and our gut microbiome is constantly interacting together. 70% of our immune system is along our gut lining, and it's constantly, causes the immune system to be overactive, underactive, modulates the immune system. So I think, Amy, what you're doing in your work, God bless you, because, this world needs more people like you.
Well, thank you. And you as well. I got a little teary-eyed. I don't know if you noticed. It sounds like we both dedicated our lives to, even though we couldn't save our parents, but to, helping other people.
Yeah.
So tell us what can somebody do? I mean, we've talked about food. I mean, how can somebody, if you have a microbiome that is, predisposing you towards autoimmunity or even to cancer, what can you do?
Well, the interesting thing is, from the time we are born, we are just somehow told that we need to eat healthy food. And what is really surprising is there is no such thing as universal healthy food. A food that causes is good for one person can be very harmful to someone else. We are young, we are told that spinach somehow is this magical thing. The Popeye eats spinach and Popeye becomes strong. Well, it turns out spinach is not good for everyone. In fact, now that we have taken 100,000 people through the test, and Amy, amazing things we are seeing. Almost 40% of the people actually are harmed by spinach. Right?
I'm one of them. I used to eat spinach and spinach salad. And my mother had these amazing salads, and we'd eat spinach every day. And after doing your test, I stopped eating. I mean, I eat it occasionally, but when I go to get a salad, and I'll get mixed greens now instead of just spinach, I would always get spinach. Then end up with a headache or not feel great. And so now my salads don't really have spinach in them anymore.
And isn't that amazing? And most people would think we are cuckoo to tell them spinach, don't eat spinach. But it really makes a tremendous difference, right? So for me, it says don't eat apple. I mean, we were grown. I mean, the time we were born, say apple a day keeps the doctor away. In my case, apple a day brings the doctor home, right? Because I have apple chlorhexidine leaf virus inside my gut. And when I eat apple, I'm feeding that virus, right? I can't eat banana or lentils. I mean, lentils used to be my staple food. I mean, being a vegetarian and Indian, I eat lentils. Guess what? They were causing my body to actually, my gut microbiome was taking that protein, fermenting that protein, and releasing the ammonia and sulfide that was causing inflammation. And that to me is really that specific, that when we look at your gut, we're looking at exactly what is being metabolized, what is being synthesized, what signaling molecules are being produced. And based for each food, we can tell you, is this food good for you and why? And is this food bad for you and why? And another thing that, Amy, I wanted to update you that we have very recently done, we are publishing a paper that's going to come out next week. So you are the first one to hear about it. We built a predictive glycemic response model that for every food, by just looking at the biological activity of your gut, we can tell you for each food when you eat, what is going to be the glycemic response. So think about it. So we can say, don't eat almonds because it's going to be bad for you compared to someone else. We were told that glycemic response for almond is very low. We see people completely different. In one person, when they eat bread, it has very little glycemic response. In other person, it shoots through the roof.
Wow, it's going to be a game changer, right? And for all these people trying to do ketogenic diets and paleo diets and things like that.
Oh my God, Amy, don't even get me there, go there. Because we see these people falling for these fat diet, and you see many of these people who have autoimmune diseases, they follow this keto diet and they completely F up their gut, technical word, right? This is a point is they really destroy their gut when they go out on these fat diets, the Atkins diet. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
The paleo diet, the keto diet, or intermittent fasting diet. We see people when they go on these fasting diets, their organisms are actually eating their gut lining, the mucin. And we can see the mucin being metabolized by these organisms. We see people on this keto
Are there people that do well on them? Like, I mean, based on their gut microbiome, so there might be people who really thrive in a, intermittent fasting diet and people who don't. I mean, that's really individualized medicine, right? And the type of medicine that I would practice, that you'd always, why somebody would do one thing and they'd thrive and someone else would do it and they wouldn't thrive at all.
And even the people who thrive today may not thrive 3 months from now or 6 months from now. And that's the reason that even a diet that works for you suddenly stops working for you, because your ecosystem of your gut changes. And when that ecosystem changes, that things that used to be good for you now become bad for you.
And so tell us, for the layperson, I mean, this is a test that people can purchase from you guys, and you send a kit to their house and they can do it out of their own home. And it doesn't require a physician ordering it for them. It doesn't require insurance. Just tell us sort of the logistics about the actual test.
So first of all, Amy, I want you to just remind the users, remember 1 year ago when you and I talked, the test used to be, I think, $499. Now we have reduced the cost down to $199, right?
Wow.
So literally we make absolutely nothing. As our costs are coming down because our volume is going up, we constantly bring that cost down to the user, because my goal is to get as many people to be able to afford it as possible. And my hope really is within the months, as our volume is continuing to go up, our cost will come down to $149 and we'll sell it for $149. And I'm absolutely convinced that by the end of the years, I want to bring the price down to $99, because that is the price I want everyone to be able to do it. And ultimately, my hope is to just give this thing away to everyone. And so everyone can take care of themselves, because this is something I hope will be my gift and our gift together, Amy, to the humanity, to just not be sick. And as you and I have dedicated our lives, having lost our parents, making illness optional. What if people knew what is good for them and they actually followed and they never got sick? So yes, to answer your question, it's an at-home kit. No, we don't bill the insurance. You don't need to have an insurance. You don't need a doctor's order. You order it, a kit online, and you can go to, Amy, you have the place to go to for?
Yeah, amymd.io/Viome, Viome. So you guys can head over there if you're interested in, reading more about the test, taking the test. Again, amymd.io/Viome, Viome.
Yeah. And when you go there and order the test, essentially you get, a couple of days later, you get the beautiful box at home. You do a test and you literally touch off your stool, you send it back to us. And within 2 weeks, you're going to get the results on your smartphone or your desktop or your iPad. And you'll be able to see exactly, here are my foods to avoid and why. Here are my superfoods and why. And here are the supplements you need. And by the way, we don't sell you anything. So there is no supplements we sell you. We don't sell you anything. It's all exactly up to you. You can buy them from any place you want. Our job is simply to tell you what's good for you so you can stay healthy and a wonderful life.
And tell us what advances have been made. I'm sure there have been some with the app and the information that you guys
Oh my God.
provide for people in the last year since I've done the test?
Massive test. As I said, we have now incorporated all of the predictive glycemic response in the test. We have, in fact, in the next version of the app, we are going to be adding more and more scores. So we'll be telling you how much butyrate you're producing, how much of lipopolysaccharide that's highly inflammatory you're producing, how much of primary bile acid, the secondary bile acid. We're going to be showing you the scores for sulfide and ammonia. And we're going to have a whole bunch of your digestive score, your neuro scores, your metabolic scores. And, so we're going to keep adding in more and more information to you. But more importantly, we just don't tell you, here's what's happening. We tell you what to do about it. And that really is the trick.
And if someone's already taken the test and you guys are doing more updates to the app, does that automatically get updated or no? Because, you wouldn't have had that data before.
No, so actually the data is the same. We update the app and you get that at absolutely no cost. So as we are adding more and more features and we're just, telling you more information, actually it's just simply more analysis and more things we are learning, and we give it to you at no cost to you.
Okay. And I have somebody asking on Facebook, can someone from Canada order it? Can this be ordered by anybody in other countries as well?
Yes. So today we ship it in US, UK, Canada, Belgium, Switzerland, let's see, France, and many other countries.
Okay. So yes, anybody who's looking for, anybody who's looking to do the test, you can go to amymd.io/Viome, VIOME, and that can happen outside of the country as well. So tell me, there are a number of companies, frankly, that do microbiome testing. I mean, people might have heard of other companies. What distinguishes your company and your test from perhaps some of the other companies that people have heard of?
Yeah. So first of all, as I was saying right in the beginning, that every company, first of all, was using very, very old technology like 16S that can never see any virus and, yeast and fungus and mold, or even the people who do metagenomics, which is DNA. It can only tell you what organisms exist, but they can never tell you what organisms are actually producing. What matters to the body is what these organisms are doing, not who they are. And every company was focused on who they are. And we realized the only way people get sick is because of things that are actually happening inside the gut. And that is the key to the human health. And what we are doing is understanding actually the biochemical activities, the biological activity inside the gut. And that is really allowing us to make the recommendation that are personalized just for you.
Right. So, I mean, I know I had been, being in the field that I'm in, a lot of people had offered, oh, you could do this test, you could do that test. And when they were first coming online, what was that, maybe even 10 years ago now, the time flies so quickly. And that's exactly it. They were sequencing the genes and they were sequencing the actual microbiome, the actual, bugs, but then nobody knew what to do with it, right? So many of us, the early adopters of this, thought, well, that's great. Now I know what bugs you have, but how is this relevant to me? What does this mean? So you guys at Viome have really taken it a step further, which is to say, not only can we see who these guys are in here, we can actually see what they're doing. And then you take it even another step further to say, and here's what you need to do to get them to stop doing the bad stuff and keep doing this good stuff.
And that's exactly, so we take, as the other, we do the RNA sequencing, and then we take the genes that are expressed and we put them in the pathways to understand all the technical mumbo jumbo. And then we use the artificial intelligence to tell you exactly what to do about it. And that's really the key is it's actionable. And that's the reason we think that we can make illness optional. That means you know what to do and you may decide not to do it, but you know exactly what to do to stay healthy.
Well, we have Helene Michelle saying that Viome really helped her after she had so many issues after she was doing a ketogenic diet. So that's awesome. And Dana says, thanks so much for this important work. And then Tracy's asking, will food sensitivities change over time? And I can tell you my answer based on my work, which is absolutely. Some can go away completely, some will always be there, and some will change over time.
But here's very interesting, the keto diet that one of the person mentioned, one of your audience mentioned about the keto diet. We have seen so many people who go on a keto diet. It works for a while, but I've seen them completely get destroyed because of their gut microbiome. They get anxiety. They end up actually screwing up their thyroid. They end up developing autoimmune diseases. Is because when you're not eating properly and balanced food, you end up actually harming your body.
Right. I mean, there's all kinds of studies, and it depends on what kind of bugs you have, right? I mean, some people might have bugs that really feed off of high fat, and somebody else might have bugs that do disastrous in a high fat situation. So it all, depends. But as you know, I mean, we know that the microbiome can begin to change within 24 hours of changing our diet, right? Somebody going from a standard American diet to a vegan diet to a keto diet to a paleo diet, these things can, to then going back and eating a sugar diet, these things can literally affect the bugs, within 24 hours.
They do. However, just want to be a little cautious here that a little bit of perturbance is like throwing a stone in the water. You get a little bit of wave, but they get back into the same normal ecosystem. But if you change your diet and stay on that new diet for a while, within 3 months or so, that whole ecosystem rebalances and you have a completely different ecosystem. So so you don't need to worry about, oh my God, last night I ate a different diet. If I do my test, it's going to be completely different than the day before, right? It doesn't really change that much.
Right. And so how often do you recommend that people do this test? Because changing your diet, I mean, I'm assuming, you're going to get the results, you're going to change your diet. Yeah. And then over time, even if that's the right diet for you and you're doing that one, it could change to be a different diet. So how often are you recommending that people do this test?
So we initially recommend that when you start doing the test and you completely drastic change of your diet, your ecosystem is going to change in 3 or 4 months. And we recommend that you do the second test again in 3 to 4 months to find. And I think eventually you'll start to find that your ecosystem gets to a certain point where your diet that you're changing is not that much. And then you can go down to maybe twice a year and then once a year. But, even if we tune our cars once a year, I mean, for heaven's sake, you have to at least tune your body once a year. And people ask me, oh my God, that's, how often isn't that too much? And I say, how often do you have to exercise to stay healthy? Once a year, twice a year.
Right. So what kind of, I know because we've talked before and we've already had the woman on here saying that she's gotten results from from Biome, and I myself have gotten some, but what are some of your favorite stories or biggest success stories that I've heard? Because I'm sure you hear them hundreds every day.
And that is honestly, Amy, why I get up at 4 a.m. and jump out of the bed is because of those stories. When your heart warms up, coming from a place, not coming from, healthcare like you are, Amy, it is so heartwarming to hear when you get someone to say, you changed my life. I've been sick for so long and I feel better. Thank you. And you don't even know what to say to them because you never ever thought you will be in a position to change someone's life like that. And that to me really is a privilege. I mean, people like you who are in this world, who day in, day out do the good for the humanity and hear that every day. So I want to hear your story of Biome. You took a Biome test and I think your husband did and your kids did, right? Your husband did, right? So
yeah, we all did. I would say for us, it's, for my daughter, she was having she's adopted and she was having, and she was a C-section. We did do seeding with her, but she had a lot of eczema when she was first born. And, through Biome and several other things, she doesn't have eczema anymore. So that was really great for us to really figure out, healing her gut and her microbiome because, for me, having been somebody who lost my mother to cancer and my father to autoimmunity and myself having autoimmune, I really wanted to have her have the best foundation that she possibly could have. And so, and your wonderful medical director, Helen, helped me out as well. So I don't know if that's something that everybody gets to do, but I, had the consultation with Helen. It was just, really helpful to be able to go in and add some things that other tests weren't really picking up for her. So that was great.
Good thing, Amy, is that we put all her expertise and all the things we have learned since in the box. So in a sense, our artificial intelligence actually has learned everything that we always knew and is constantly learning. So every person who joins us makes everyone before them better and everyone after them better, and they get better themselves because of all the things we have learned. I mean, this is not new anymore, right? We have 100,000 people that have gone through this test, and it's just amazing to see that these people, how much they have contributed to the benefit of humanity. And if I may take this moment, I want to thank all those 100,000 people that got us to this point, and we cannot wait to get the next 2 million people, because that to me is the key if we want to eliminate the chronic diseases from the face of this earth, if we can get 2 million of us to come together, we all will have everything that we need to know. Our artificial intelligence will have all the data that it needs to be able to fundamentally understand these chronic diseases and make the recommendation to get these chronic diseases to just go away. And imagine a world where chronic disease is truly a matter of choice, not a matter of bad luck. And I can't wait for that day to happen.
I know, it'd be very exciting. So we have a number of people asking about different types of diets. And I just want to assure everybody, we're not trying to knock or promote any particular type of diet here. I mean, many people that are following me follow, the Myers Way or an AIP diet, and that can be really beneficial for many, many people. But if you've tried a particular diet, like intermittent fasting or keto, and it's not effective, or you're having the opposite reaction to what other people are, it could just be that you have different bugs in your microbiome, and that's not the right one for you. So anybody who's interested, you can check out amymd.io/Viome, VIOME for the test. Were you going to say something? Then I
was saying that even if you're on a particular diet, you can even personalize that diet. So you can have a personalized keto, personalized paleo, even if you just absolutely believe in that religion. Sometimes the diet to people is a religion. I don't want to say your religion is a bad religion, but at least you can personalize and know exactly what's happening inside your gut.
Right. And it is like spinach, right? I mean, what everybody considers a superfood. I mean, there are those superfoods, coconut, avocado, spinach, almonds, things that people on many of these diets are eating. And I recommend in my books, but it may be a food that is not right for you for whatever reason. And so it's important to find that out. So what's the end game? I mean, what's next on the horizon for you? What are your big goals?
So, again, the big goal, our mission is exactly the same: help 1 billion people live without a disease-free life. That's our absolute mission. And the way we are going there is very methodical, Amy. In our industry, unlike a tech industry, move fast, break things is not what you do in healthcare. In healthcare, you have to be very slow, very methodical. You do the clinical test, you do the double-blind clinical test, you prove the efficacy, and you get the FDA approval, and you continue to move down that path. And that's literally what we're doing. We are learning, and now we actually can do the predictive modeling for these diseases. Now we're doing a double-blind clinical trial, and then we're going to tell people the efficacy of each one of the personalized drugs, and hoping that as a wellness people will do that. And then we're working with FDA to actually approve our personalized logic for a particular condition. So we can say, here is a personalized information for each person that we do using our AI, and our AI is a drug, right?
And how is it being perceived by the medical community?
I mean, I think FDA is, to me, surprisingly, they actually published a paper called SAMD, Software as a Medical Device. And they really believe that we are moving into the era, our human body is being digitized, and we're going to be literally, everything that's happening inside our bodies can be digitized. That means we know actual biochemical activities. There's a chemistry that's going on, and you can use the math. AI is nothing but a math. So it's really math and chemistry at the end of the day, and FDA gets it.
Well, I guess if there's money to be made, the FDA will be approving it, right? But as long as at the end of the day, they all acknowledge that food is medicine, and it is how we're all going to take back our health. And so I know that you only had 30 minutes with us, and I want to be cognizant of your time. And thank you so much for your contribution to the medical community, to the community at large, and for your contributions and for creating Viome so that people can take advantage of this at-home test and find out about their propensity towards disease, but more importantly, to take control of their own health and to use food as medicine to reverse these chronic conditions.
Well, Amy, all I can say is thank you very much for dedicating your life to this wonderful cause. And we all just have to remember, all diseases begin in the gut. One man's food is another man's poison. And let food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be the food. So there we have it. They couldn't have said better.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your contribution. And anybody who's joined us late, you can go back and listen. This will remain up on the Facebook page. And if you're interested in checking out Viome, you can go to amymd.io/Viome, VIOME. And I've taken the test myself, and now chatting with you, Naveen, I think it's already been a year. I don't know where the time goes, but I'll be sending in another one for myself and my entire family. So I'll be ordering a couple tests as soon as we get off here and sending them in and seeing hopefully that we've made some positive progress.
Thank you very much, Amy. Look forward to seeing you again, and hopefully sooner than a year this time.
Yes. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.